Hi, I'm Rob, and welcome to L-Space Archives. Today I'm just doing an impromptu, quick, well, maybe not so quick, book haul. Some of these are long overdue. First, probably over a month ago, I received a surprise package in the mail from Brian at Bad Taste Books, who sent me some amazing stuff. First is Galaxy Science Fiction from August of 1955. This has William Tenn, Theodore Sturgeon, Alan Arkin, Manly Bannister, Daniel F. Kaluuya, and regardless of what's inside, this cover makes it all worthwhile. This is, I can't remember the name of the artist, Kerberger. Never heard of Kerberger, but that is worth it. Next, he sent me a book that I have read and I already own a copy, but this one was in much better shape. And signed by Alan Dean Foster. Thank you, Brian. That is absolutely amazing. I love this book. It's the first book in the Flinks and Pips series from Alan Dean Foster. If I'm not going to do a review of this, if you want to see a really fantastic review, go check out Deb, the Omnivorous Reader. She reviewed I believe the first 3 books in the series, and it's well worth watching. There's nothing I can say that's going to top her review. I agree with everything she said. Those are a fun series of books. Next is an author. I have one of his books, but I haven't read it yet. It's J.T. McIntosh, 6 Gates from Limbo. 3 travelers find 6 very different worlds await their choice if they have the courage to leave Eden. So I don't know anything about this. Like I said, I have one of his other books, but I haven't read it. But I will definitely put this on my list. It looks like fun. Another one, which I have a really beat up copy of a different version, but this is much better. This is a Rite of Passage by Alexei Panshin with that Rowena cover on it, which is much better than the version I have. And also, I noticed something in here that isn't in my version. On the... see if I can find it here. On the contents page, I noticed some very faint writing. I don't know if the camera will pick that up. And at first I thought it was something else had been imprinted on there, but that's not the case. It would have been backwards, and it's not. And it took me a while to try to read it because it's so faint, but it looks like it was put there to purpose. I don't know if this text is within the story or not because I haven't read it yet, but it says very faintly, "He kissed my breast, moved his tongue experimentally over the nipple, and it swelled without my willing it. I thought my heart would become too large and break with the surge it made. We moved tightly into each other's arms." And then on the other page, I can't make out the name, it's Mr. Somebody, had a good library of books, and I looked through them, in the process finding a number of very interesting things. History, the Losels, natural home was, and then it cuts off there. Another book that I was really excited to get is Colin Wilson's The Mind Parasites. I have Colin Wilson's book, The Space Vampires, which is the novel that the movie Life Force was based on. So I'm very excited to see what this is. He also sent me Edmund Hamilton's Return to the Stars. This is the sequel to the Star Kings. I have the Star Kings in ebook, but I don't own a physical copy of it. So I'm going to need to try to hunt that down and find that. But I was pretty happy with this. This is a Jim Steranko cover, by the way. Okay, so those were the books I got sent from Brian. Speaking of which, I got one other book, which I just got recently, and that is Weird Frequencies. I'm sure everybody that follows me already knows about this book. If for some reason you don't, it was an anthology of short stories put together by 13 of my favorite booktubers, and I knew this was going to be fun. I read this in less than 24 hours. I could not put it down. I just kept reading, and in fact, 24 hours after I finished it, I started rereading a lot of the stories. I was, like I said, I was expecting it to be fun. I was expecting it to be entertaining. But seriously, there are quite a few stories in here that are 5-star, professionally done stories that just blew my mind. One of which was written by Brian at Bad Taste Books, called The Mouth of the World, which on my little scale of things that I rate books on: character, world building, plot, prose, ineffable. 5 stars on all those, although the ineffable wasn't really ineffable. I knew exactly why I liked this story. It was totally effable. Oh well. But anyway, if you haven't already, I'm sure you probably have, but if you haven't picked this up, I was amazed at the quality of a lot of the stories in here. All right, so on to the thrift store haul. So first was Ray Bradbury's Return from the Dust. Then we also got Ray Bradbury's Zen in the Art of Writing. And I've been trying to collect all the books that I had before I turned 18, like every book that I had from my young child when I was first learning to read, all the way through, and in the exact same livery, exact same covers that I originally had them in. And one that I was missing that I found, I have a different version of this, but one I found that was the version that I had when I was young is John Steinbeck's Grapes of Wrath, one of my favorite books, one of my favorite movies, with Henry Fonda, and my mom knew that was one of my favorite movies and knew that I loved to read, so she bought me that book when I was a teenager. Another book that I found that I just saw Nick doing the Quantum Leap, the novel, which I already have, but then the very next day I found another Quantum Leap book, Odyssey, so I will add that to my TV tie-in books. And then a book that is by James Blish and Norman L. Knight. I don't know Norman L. Knight, but I have quite a few James Blish. This is A Torrent of Faces. It is completely buggered on the cover, but that's all right. The inside is good. This was evidently property of the Air Force, property of the Air Force, property of the Air Force, and property of the Air Force, and also property of the Air Force. So I'm not sure if JAG is going to come looking for me now, but anyway, hopefully I can get it read before I get court-martialed. Next up was a Alfred Hitchcock's Games Killers Play, an anthology. Sorry, there's a cat here now. We have Alfred Hitchcock, August Derleth, Donald E. Westlake, and a few other people who I don't know who they are, but I always like a good mystery or crime thriller. So add that, and then also another anthology, Year's Best SF7, edited by David G. Hartwell. This has quite a few also. We have Nancy Kress, Terry Bison, Michael Swanwick, Brian Aldiss, Ursula K. Le Guin, Stephen Baxter, Terry Dowling, Gene Wolfe, Gregory Benford, Alistair Reynolds, and several others. So add that to my anthology collection, as well as this little book, Strange Stories of the Supernatural. This has a Wilkie Collins story, The Dream Woman, as well as a Mary Shelley, The Mortal Immortal. And I don't know Richard Middleton, but it's called The Ghost Ship, so I'm down for that. And then I thought I already owned this, but evidently I didn't. It's David E. Butler's Imago. So I'll add that. I swore I had that already. Then I also picked up a Jack Williamson. It's a hardcover, Brother to Demons, Brother to Gods. I have a few Jack Williamson. I did not have that one. I also am recollecting. I used to have all of these, and then I have all of them on ebook, but Kurt Vonnegut, this is Mother Night. And then also found a Gene Wolfe on Blue Waters. This is the first volume of the Book of the Short Sun. Not sure who did the cover art on that, but it's next library book from Peoria Library. And then another one that I thought I had in paperback, but I was evidently wrong, is Fritz Leiber's The Wanderer. And then we also got a Ron Goulart, The Hellhound Project. And say what you will about Ron Goulart, but he always has incredibly interesting cover art. I do believe that I have this in paperback, but I never resist when I rarely, but occasionally see a James Tiptree Jr. book out in a thrift store for a couple dollars. I will pick it up. So now I have it in hardback and paperback. And then a Christopher Moore noir. My favorite Christopher Moore book was Lamb. Few have lived up to that, but I've still enjoyed them. They're fun. But then this one is Mars, We Love You. Tales of Mars, Men, and Martians, with an introduction by Isaac Asimov. This is also a ex-library book, but this has a number of authors in here. We got Asimov, H.G. Wells, Edgar Rice Burroughs, Stanley Weinbaum, Donnelly Wollheim, Lester Del Rey, George O. Smith, Anthony Boucher, Arthur C. Clarke, David Knight, H. Beam Piper, Ray Bradbury, Harry Harrison, Frank Herbert, Harlan Ellison, Bruce McAllister, Barry Malzberg, Robert Heinlein, and several more. So happy to add that to the collection. Another book I discovered I do already have in paperback. I thought I did, but for some reason it didn't come up on my database when I was in the thrift store, is Cachalot by Alan Dean Foster. And then another Ray Bradbury, Quicker Than the Eye. I have this on ebook, but I did not have a physical copy of it. And also a big old The Stories of Ray Bradbury. This has a lot of stories in there. Just the table of contents is pages long. So there's the first page of the table of contents. And second page. Sorry, my fingers are in the way. third page of the table of contents. And the fourth page of the table of contents. So there's a lot packed in here. So very excited to have that. Another Alfred Hitchcock's Daring Detectives. This has, I believe, August Derleth and Agatha Christie, Earl Stanley Gardner, August Derleth, Ellery Queen, Leslie Charteris, who wrote the Saint series, John Dixon Carr. So some great authors in that. And finally, this is a newer book. Don't know anything about it, but the premise on the cover got me, and it is Gestapo Mars by Victor Gischler. I don't know anything about this. If anybody has read this or knows of it, let me know in the comments. Now, I have a few other books that I didn't have room for here, so hold on and let me move some stuff around. So I also found the first two books in Mercedes Lackey's The Dragon Jouster series. I have a few other Mercedes Lackey's books, but I haven't read any yet, but these covers sort of intrigue me, and there's the first two books in the series. Also have some Elizabeth Moon. I did not have this one, Phases. And one that I've been looking for in this particular cover was Kurt Vonnegut's Cat Cradle. It is beat up, but I don't care. And then a Charles DeLint, Into the Green. And somebody who I've never heard of Ward Hawkins. If anybody's heard of this author, let me know. But I could not pass up that cover. I mean, come on. It was 99 cents, obviously. I'm gonna take it. And another TV tie-in book, which I don't have any in this series, but it's Xena, Warrior Princess, The Thief of Hermes, by Rue Emerson, who I have heard of. And then a Connie Willis book, Connie Willis, who wrote the Doomsday Book and To Say Nothing of the Dog. I believe this is a collection of short stories, but I'm not, maybe not. But it is called Uncharted Territory, and again, I love that cover. So, a Western on an alien planet, maybe? And another Mercedes Lackey book. This, I believe, is a collection of short stories, Werehunter. And then Millennial Women, introducing a new novel by Ursula K. Le Guin. And this also has a Joan DiVinci story, Cherry Wilder, and a few others. Then I found three Alan Dean Fosters that I didn't have, part of the trilogy. This is The Founding of the Commonwealth, Book 1, Phylogenesis. Book 2, Dirge. And Book 3, Eternity's Dawn. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And then I also found a J.G. Ballard collection of short stories, The Terminal Beach. I have quite a few of Ballard's, but I did not have this one, and I love that cover on there. And then finally, Mrs. Elspace grew up in the Pine Barrens of New Jersey, so we found at the library for 50 cents on sale, The Jersey Devil by Hunter Shea. I don't know anything about Hunter Shea. If anybody's read this book, let me know. But the back cover says, "Everyone knows the legend of the Jersey Devil. Some believe it is an abomination of nature, a hybrid winged beast from hell that stalks the pine barrens of southern New Jersey, searching for prey. Others believe it is a hoax, a campfire story designed to scare children. But one man knows the truth. The devil awakes. 60 years ago, Boompa Willett came face to face with the devil and lived to tell the tale. Now, the creature's stomping grounds are alive once again with strange sightings, disappearances, and worse. After all these years, Boompa must return to the barrens, not to prove the legend is real, but to wipe it off the face of the earth. It'll take more than just courage to defeat the devil. It will take 4 generations of the Willett clan, a lifetime of survivalist training, and all the firepower they can carry. But timing is critical. A summer music festival has attracted crowds of teenagers. The woods are filled with tender young prey, but this time the devil is not alone. The evil has grown into an unholy horde of mutant monstrosities, and hell has come to New Jersey." I need to know, has anybody read this book? I'm definitely going to be reading this. Technically, this is my wife's book, but I'm going to be reading it. And then I have 2 other books, but I'm going to turn the camera around for them because they're, oh, well, I can show one of them. The other one, I'll have to turn the camera around because it is too big to fit on this screen. So this is one I also picked up at the library. This was $1 on the library, and it is Murder for Christmas. And it has, okay, we can ignore the Woody Allen story, but it also has Agatha Christie, Charles Dickens, Arthur Conan Doyle, Thomas Hardy, O. Henry, just on and on. Tons of great writers in that. And then the last one we got at the library is for $1. This is the big one. It is a treasury of illustrated children's books, early 19th century classics from the Osborne collection, and it has a lot of the old artwork and copies of the some of the early printings. It has a lot of just your classic illustrated children's books of the time, and it was $1, so I thought that was a deal. And then 2 that I'm really excited for. One is a biography of Dashiell Hammett. I love Dashiell Hammett. There is the man himself. Dashiell Hammett, Raymond Chandler, amongst my favorites. So I'm excited to get that. And one that I've heard Chris at Liminal Spaces talk about a lot, and I've never seen it in the wild. I saw it at a Goodwill for $2 and picked it up. It is Hard-Boiled Wonderland and the End of the World by Haruki Murakami. I've heard Chris talk about this so much that it's been on my wish list for a long time, and I was glad to pick that up for what I thought was a smoking deal. Okay, seriously, that's it this time. I will see you next time. Thanks.